Netcat is the Swiss Army knife of hacking. So as ethical hackers, let's make sure we know how to use it. We're going to try it with some of its most popular use cases. Open Kali, log in as Kali, and open a terminal. Open Server 2016, log in as administrator, and open a command prompt. Also, have the snippets file ready, activity 6.8.1. Now, sometimes copy-paste doesn't work properly, so we're going to make sure that both VMs have their own copy of the snippets. First, drag and drop the snippets file to Kali. Click the desktop in Kali to make sure the focus is on the desktop and not the command prompt. Now click and drag the snippets file. You might have to try it a few times for it to work. Then come over to Server 2016 and click the desktop so that you have the focus on that, and click and drag to that desktop. All right, we're set there. Opening the snippets, we're going to set up our two VMs. On Server 2016, we just need to make sure that the Netcat tools are actually installed. Then we're going to make sure that there's a folder called Secret with a couple of documents in it, payments.txt and confidential.txt. So coming to Server 2016, let me scoot this over a little bit here. Opening up the File Explorer, going to the C drive. Is there a Tools folder? Now this should have been set up already at the beginning when you first set up the lab for this course. Open up Tools, open up Netcat. Yes, all the tools are there, including Netcat itself. All right. Now going back to the C drive, if you don't have a secret folder, create one. And once you have it, open it up and create two text files, confidential and payments, and put a little bit of text in each. Let me show you what I put in. Confidential, mine says, confidential, do not share this information. Daisy always hides her snacks under the desk. Daisy is, of course, my little chihuahua. Then in payments, open up that, and I have secret payments, Manny, $1,000. You can, of course, put in anything you want. Now come over to Kali. We need to make sure that in the Kali home profile, there is a text file called haha.txt with some text in it. So I'm coming to Kali, and I'm going to, on the desktop, open up Home. This is Kali's profile right here. There's no haha text file just yet, so just right-click somewhere in the blank space, create document, empty file, haha.txt. Click Create. And then double-click it to open it with mousepad, and you can just put in something. Haha, you've been hacked. Whatever you want. Save it and close it. Now that we have the two VMs ready, let's do our first task. Unless noted, server will always be Server 2016, and client will always be Kali. We first need to make sure we know the IP addresses for both of the VMs. I'm closest to Kali, so I'm going to go to Kali, and I'm just going to type ifconfig, enter. Okay, scroll up a little bit. My Kali IP is 192.168.6.128. Yours will be different. Just make note of it. Coming over to Server 2016, ipconfig, and mine is 192.168.6.132. Okay, I know the two IPs. Now what's next? The first thing we're going to do is just make the most basic Netcat connection between client and server. And you can use that as a basic chat service. Server 2016, of course, is the server. So we're going to change directories into the Netcat directory. We're going to look around, clear the screen, and then start the listener. I'm going to copy, scroll up, and paste. Let's dir. Yep, all the files are here. Let's clear screen, CLS. And now, let's see if we can copy and paste this. Copy. Let's see, right-click, and it worked. We're telling Netcat to start a listener. The L is capitalized because we're telling it to listen harder. Normally, Netcat will close up as soon as a connection comes in, but we're telling it to stay open. And then the N means do not bother to do a reverse DNS lookup. The V means give us verbose output, and the P means listen on port 1234. Hopefully we're not using port 1234. We shouldn't be. Enter. Might have to hit enter a couple times. This is what we want to see. As soon as we see listening on any, meaning any IP, 1234, we know this server is ready. Let's come over to Kali. With Kali, before we copy and paste, we need to replace this with the server IP address. My server 2016 is 192.168.6.132. You put in yours. Copy, and I'm going to right-click and paste the clipboard. I'm going to right arrow. We are telling this client, Netcat, to give us verbose output. Don't bother doing any reverse DNS lookup. Connect to this server's port. Enter. And you can see they're talking to each other right now, this one and that one. And the cool part then is right now, it's a chat server. On either of these, you can start talking. So you type something on one and you answer on the other and you go back and forth. When you're done, you press Control-C on both of them. So let's just come over to the server. Hey there. Enter. And we come over here, you can see there's hey there. Let's respond. What's up? Enter. Pretty cool, huh? Very simple chat server. Like I said, when you're done, click into each and press Control-C. Make sure that they both go back to a normal prompt. That's the first task. Now let's deliver a file. Let's have the server deliver a file to the client when the client connects. So the server is going to say, oh, you just connected to me. Well, have this file. So remember how we had confidential.txt? Let's go to server 2016. We're going to tell it to listen and deliver the client this text file. Right-click, copy. Come over here, click in, right-click. Start Netcat. Only stay on for 5 seconds. Otherwise, it'll hang and sit there all day. Listen harder. No DNS reverse lookup. Verbose output. Port 5555. And when somebody connects to this port, take this file and send it into that connection. That's why you see the arrow pointing this way. It seems counterintuitive, but what we mean is, as soon as this connection is made, take this and shove it into it. Okay, let's start our listener. Enter. Listening on any, port 5555. Okay, go to Kali. Before we copy paste, I've got to replace this with server's IP, 192.168.6.132. And let's go to Kali and paste. Paste clipboard. Right arrow. Start a client and only wait for 5 seconds. Do your thing and get out. No reverse lookups, verbose output, connect to this server's port, and when you make the connection, that connection is going to give you this file. So you notice how the two are opposite. If the server points one way, the client has to point the other way, and vice versa. So in this case, the server is going to give me this file as soon as I connect, and I will take that and save it by the same name. Here we go. Enter. And you can see we have the connection here. It's not going to last long because we said we'd only stick around for 5 seconds there. This one is finished. This one has gone back to normal listening. Do we have confidential.txt? Let's go take a look. And Kali, open up Home and scroll down. There it is. Open it up. And yeah, it has the information. Control-C on both. Next task. This time, the client will upload a file to the server, rather than the server handing the client the file. Let's start our listener on server 2016. OK, server, start Netcat. When someone makes a connection, time out after 5 seconds. Listen hard. No DNS lookup. Verbose output. Port 7777. When someone makes a connection, you are going to take what they give you and save it here. So this connection is going to give you this. The client is going to give you haha.txt. Enter. Enter again. Listening. Good. Now Kali. Let's copy and paste. And Kali, of course, is going in the other direction. Copy. Come to Kali. Right-click. Paste clipboard. Kali. Make a connection. Only stay connected for 5 seconds. No reverse lookups. Verbose output. Looks like we're going to have to change that server IP. That's not going to get very far. So let me just left arrow and change the server IP to 192.168.6.132. So make a connection to this server. Here's the server's port. And when you make the connection, feed them this. Shove this file into that connection. Here we go. Enter. And we're done. Now, of course, this guy is listening harder, so he's still listening. But did he get haha.txt? There it is. Open it up. Yup. All right, so we've had a server give a client a file when they connect, and then we've had a client connect and give the server the file. Now here's where it's going to get really interesting. Remember how I said that Netcat, at least the older versions, are one-shot deals? They close up. Windows has the ability to listen harder, capital L, but the Linux Unix version does not. Well, there's the most recent one that does, but there's also the modern replacement for Netcat, and it's called Ncat. It's by the same people. Ncat does have the ability to listen harder, although its switch is different from the Windows version. This is an improved version. We're going to install Ncat on Kali so that the connection can always stay open. Let's copy this. Come over to Kali, right-click, paste. Just apt install Ncat. Enter. The sudo password is Kali, enter. It goes and gets it. When it's done, we're ready. Okay, we now have Ncat. Now this is going to be tricky. Kali is going to use 2 terminals, and you'll see why in a moment. On terminal 1, the one we have, let's right now start a listener. This is terminal 1, and we're going to paste. Now what we're doing here is we are saying Ncat, not Netcat, listen, no lookup, verbose, only keep the connection open for 5 seconds. The K means stay open, and you don't have to say P for port. So we're going to stay open, and our port will be 9999. When a connection is made, whatever they give us, when that connection is made, the client will give us something. We will save it as payments.txt. Ready? Enter. Okay, Ncat is listening, and it's listening persistently. We have our first terminal running in Kali, and we're going to let it run. We'll need it soon. What we're now going to do is we're going to tell the server that we want to have a reverse shell whenever the client connects. So on the server, and the server only needs one command prompt, copy and paste this. Copy, come over to the server, right-click, paste. Start your listener. Listen harder. No reverse lookups, verbose output, port 8888, and when someone connects, launch this executable cmd-exe. You see what's happening? Client makes a connection, we're going to give them a shell. Our shell. I love shells. Enter. Maybe enter one more time. Okay. Now, coming back to Kali, we need a second terminal. And I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to put in server's IP, 192.168.6.132. We need a second terminal here. Copy. Okay. I'm going to open a second terminal here. And I'm going to right-click and paste. Right arrow. What we're doing here is we're saying, okay, Netcat, let's make a connection. No lookups, verbose output. Let's connect to this server and its port. And it's listening, waiting. And as soon as we connect, it's going to give us a shell. You ready? Here we go. Enter. Look at this. There's a connection. And that guy gave us his Windows shell right here. How wild is that? Who am I? I'm the administrator of this Windows server that has a funky name, ipconfig. You know, you can't do an ipconfig in Linux, but you can in Windows. And we are at a Windows prompt. Look at that, look at that. That's the server's IP address. Why don't we take advantage of this and create a backdoor? Let's create a user account. Netuser Lily. You just put in any name you want. And now we need a password. We need to conform to Server 2016's password requirement. 8 characters, 3 types. 1, and password with a capital P. That'll do it. And then /add. Enter. If you type net space and then user, press enter. There's Lily. Now let's put Lily in the administrators group. Net local group administrators add Lily. Like that. Enter. And then we can prove that she's there. Net local group administrators. And that will show us the members. Enter. And there's Lily. Pretty far out, huh? So what's next? We are going to, from our remote connection to Windows, we're going to tell Windows to come back to us on this other port. And when you make the connection to us, shove into this connection here payments.txt. I just need to put in Kali's IP because now we're telling Windows to come to Kali. Remember how we set up another listener? So Kali has a listener, an Netcat listener. Netcat, Netcat, Telnet, they all interact, so long as you've got the right port. So we have an Netcat listener on 9999. Now we're telling it, Windows, come to us for 5 seconds to Kali's IP 9999 and give us, send into that connection payments.txt. And I got to put in Kali's IP here, 192.168.6.128. And I can copy this, and we're going to do it from our remote command prompt here. This is so great. So here's our remote command prompt. We don't have to go over to Windows. We're doing it remotely. Right-click, paste. Here we go. And it's coming, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, bing! Do we have it? Go into Home. Do we have payments.txt? There it is. And I've got Manny for $1,000. And you know what? I'm going to add another entry, and I'm going to run this again. Let's just go over here, go to Payments, open that up, and let me add something else. So Manny paid $1,000, and Chris is going to pay a penny. Go back to your remote terminal and run that same command again. And when you check the payments text file, you should see the updated information. Sure enough, there it is. There was the original entry and then the updated data. Isn't that far out? So that is Netcat. You can do all sorts of things with it. No wonder they call it the Swiss Army knife of hacking. With that, we'll close everything up and we will be ready to move on.